Ooh, child. Baby, they caught me right before I was finna get some shut-eye. I was saying, I'm gonna tell the story, They want to have a story time. Everybody wanted me to do this story time. Y'all don't even know what the hell I'm gonna talk about. I don't even know what the hell I'm gonna talk about. But some things that come to mind in the story time. Oh, Lord have mercy. Let's talk about way back when. Y'all remember this thing called the chat line? Where you could call and meet people and talk to people and things like that way back in the day before the internet was even a thing, honey. We did not have that. We used to be able to call people, and I remember in my area we used to have this thing called City Chat. And when you call, they'd be like, "You've reached City Chat, where America comes to party for 24 hours a day," or it may say something like, "You've reached Hotel California," or something shit like that. But either way, those was the chat lines, and it was crazy. Everybody from school would be on the chat line. Older people would be on the chat line. You know, people you didn't like for some. I mean, it's so crazy because how we have Facebook right now, that is how popular the chat line was, at least in my little neck of the woods. And hell, we got so good at it, we learned people's voices. I used to hear stories about people getting beat up in real life for things that they said on the chat line. Once people figured out who was who, oh, you was getting found. But either way, back to this story time. So, I have two sons. Anybody who knows me, I have actually had four children in my womb. I've given birth to three, and I have two children that are alive and well. Um, but either way, those other two births are different stories for a different day. Or the other two babies are different stories for a different day. Either way, this particular story about the chat line and the boom of the chat line. So, we would all be on the chat line kicking it, having a good time. And I always had a thing for girls. Any of my cousins who used to come and spend the night probably have their own story times about me. But I was friendly, to say the least. Um, but either way, I could have. Either way, I'm not going out. That's a different story for a different day. So back to the chat line. Um, so I got on the chat line. I decided, hey, I want to meet me a girl, or whatever. But I just don't want to be any girl. I want to be an older girl. Now, mind you, I was on the chat line when I was in like the sixth grade. I was 12 years old. I remember vividly that I was 12 years old. But either way, I wanted an older person. Older, I probably was thinking, at the time when you're 12, older to you is like 16, 14. That's older. So, long, no, this ain't no long story short, bitch. I'm giving you the full Monty. So either way, I get on the chat line, I'm talking, meet and greet and having a good time. I ended up meeting one chick who I was going to a school called Rebound Middle. I met a girl who was going to Rebound High. Um, and I was always pretty tall for my age. I'm 5'8" right now as an adult. And I think in sixth grade I had to be like probably 5'5", 5'6". I was tall then. Well, this chick was short. She was scrawny. She looked like she had health problems. She had a real soft voice. I can't even imitate it. It was so soft, and that shit annoyed me. Um, as you can hear, I have a lot of baritone in mine. So, and I've always wanted a deep voice. But anyway, so bitch. So the lady, we was talking, having a good time, me and the girl, but it just wouldn't click. So I moved on. Um, I was off to better things. At least I thought. So I ended up meeting a chick. This chick was older. We talked on the phone for a couple times, and she was just like, "I want to meet you. I want to meet you. But I am older. I am older." And I was like, "How old are you?" And she was like, "Oh, I'm 22." And I was like, "Oh, you're a lady. Mind you, I'm 12." So me, bright idea Rissa, I'm like, um, she was like, "How old are you?" I'm like, I'm 14. And she was like, "Oh, that'll do." I'm telling you, women is pedophiles too. So I didn't give a damn. I'm just like, all right, well, I want to meet you too. I want to meet you too. So, my mom, Lord help her, if she ever heard this story, she used to work overnights or whatever. So I remember the lady came and visited me one night. My mom was working her 11 to 7. I stayed up late. I was like, all right, Sheila's gone. All right, my mom's gone. You can come on over and, meet me or whatever. And so I never let the lady in. I was not that fast. I just remember the lady came over with a van and 3 children. I'm 12 years old. So I'm like, oh, she grown. And I'm just like, oh well. And she was just like, you are so pretty and all this stuff. And oh my goodness, well, I cannot wait till we can hang out and you can spend the night. And, have you learned how to drive? Because, I was only 14. And then I was like, you know, no, I don't know how to drive. At the time, I did not know how to drive. And I was like, but you can take me, to drive or whatever. So she was like, no, ain't nobody gonna do all of that extra stuff. You can just come on with me and we gonna have a good time. And I was like, well, we'll have to arrange it. And she was like, well, am I gonna be able to get you away from your mother? And so I was like, well, we can just tell her that I'm gonna be babysitting for you and these children. Well, money hungry mother of mine. That's all I had to say. I was like, hey, mom, this lady you never met wants me to come stay at her house for days and she's going to pay me some money. Maybe it was just the weekend. I don't want to take nothing from my good, dear, sweet mom. Maybe her judgment was not as crazy as I remember back then, but I do remember me going to that fucking lady's house. I do remember on the way going to that fucking lady's house, I told her, matter of fact, now that I think about it, I think maybe I was lying to her, telling her I was 16, and then I finally came out and was like, I'm 14. Not that that's any much older than 12, but I was actually 12. So no matter what age I gave her, it was not of legal age. So I remember when I told her that I was like 14 or something, or maybe I even told her my real age was 12, but I just remember her being like, how old are you? And I was like, I just want to be honest, but we get all the way to your house. I don't want you to be mad at me or nothing like that. And I can just only imagine how I was looking back then because you swear you're so grown up. But when you see people that's, the age you were, you realize how immature they are, how innocent they are, and how a pedophile will cipher that right out of a person. But either way, so the lady was just like, I'll never forget. Her name was Candace. Candace. Yeah, Candace. And so, oh no, or Candy. Candy or Candace. So maybe I did forget. But either way, um, she was like, girl, I'm gonna go to jail. I'm gonna go to jail. What is a 30-year-old gonna be doing with a 14-year-old? And I was like, what? You 30? And she was like, yeah, I'm 30. I'm 30. I'm not 20, whatever age I told you was, girl, I'm gonna go to jail. Now all the while she's saying she's going to jail, we is steadily driving further and further away from my house. So baby, you ain't too darn upset. You can't be too damn concerned because you still driving this young cooch off into the wind. So we go and we're off and we get to the house finally. I'm taking her, could have been no more than 6 months, 8-month-year-old son out the car. She had 2 daughters at the time. My heart goes out to them now that I never knew any foul play or nothing happened. But I'm just saying, girl, if you did it to me, who only knows? But anyway, so I get to babysit in the lady house, and at the time she worked at Venus Swimwear, and Venus Swimwear is a swimwear company. And she worked at the call center, and the call center, of course, was away from her home, because this was way back then before working from home was so popular. So either way, she um she goes, to work, and she really does leave me to babysit. Now that was the fucking news to me because I honestly thought that the babysitting thing was just a joke. I thought we was gonna be somewhere living in the lap of luxury, dropping the children off to a babysitter, and you is taking me to wherever kids went at that day and time back then, to Regency Square Mall. I thought we was gonna go and tear them all down, but anyway. No, she didn't. She was really using me as a babysitter. And bitch, I don't do kids that well. So the children was getting whippings. Even though, we would be I wasn't beating the children down, but hey, I'm just saying I was not the best doggone babysitter as a damn 12-year-old with 3 damn children and one of them is an infant. Hey, I can't be here. So I just remember going off on her a couple of times and well, we got to get down to the sex part, right? And that's what y'all here for. That's why everybody stayed and listened for the sex. Yes. Okay. So I remember us having sex I remember her going down on me. I remember me going down on her. I remember her undressing me and things, and just doing things a woman should do to please another woman. Although I was a 12-year-old child, I didn't know nothing about licking coochie. I don't even think I was doing it right. Now that I think about it, I mean, I really haven't thought about it in that long time, but I don't even think I knew what I was doing. That wasn't even the worst part of it. The worst part of it was she had a friend. She had a friend, a homegirl, who had a oversexed husband, and her and this friend used to have threesomes with this oversexed husband. I remember one day the friend called her and she was like, "Girl, I'm finna send my husband over there. I don't even want him in my face. I know he wanna go all night and I'm not with it. I'm finna send him over there to you." And she was like, "Oh, really? That's good because I got my girlfriend over here and we can have fun with him." I don't know anything about what's going on. I'm 12. But happy go lucky Rissa. What do I say? I remember it vividly when she looked at me and said, "You okay with him coming over?" And I said, "The more the merrier." That wasn't even the worst part. So the friend come over. The friend's husband comes over. Not the friend. She sends her husband over there to me and my girlfriend house. Now, it's so funny because I remember telling this story at 16 to an older woman, and she was like, "Girl, you got molested and raped, it sounds like." And I just remember the saying, "You can't rape the willing." So I never felt like I was ever violated. But anyway, so she brought the male friend over, and he was like, "Oh, she's so cute. She's so cute. Let's take a ride. We gonna go to my favorite spot." Their favorite spot was this hotel. They're charged by the hour, called the Pickable Inn in the ghetto. They charge by the hour. When I pass that now in my adult time, it's so crazy because as a kid, I thought they drove me to some distant land. Your lighter. Son, leave me. All right, so back to the story. My son was trying to give me my lighter back. Bring the lighter. I'm trying to get the story out before he comes. But anyway, so we end up at the Pickaboo Motel. So we go to the Pickaboo Motel, and it's a grungy ass, place, but not as grungy as I think. Thank you. Or as I remember. But anyway, so we get there, and I watch them do their thing. It's kind of like basically maybe she was showing me, teaching me, because I think I told her I had not been with no man before. Um, but so anyway, he, she was pleasing him, he was pleasing her. I watched them do their thing. And I was, getting excited to watching them. That was nice to see. Let's see more of it. But then they wanted me to join. I hadn't been with no man. What? No. I only see this on movies that I sneak and watch on Cinemax at nighttime on a low volume. I don't know about what it is to be the actual woman in the scene. Um, but they, really wanted me to get involved. But either way, I never had sex with him. No penetration happened. Um, I did go down on her for him. I do remember that. And I do remember him trying to get me to go down on him. But no. because it was white stuff on it. And at the time, I didn't know what that was, and I wasn't trying to find out. I just remember saying, "Why you need to wipe that off? You have to wipe it." The young girl, I'm just like, what is no? Honey, ain't nothing supposed to come out the lollipop before you suck it. So I'm just like, no, I don't want none of it. So we all leave the hotel. We all leave the hotel and, go our separate ways. Me, not too much worried about him. Me, not too much worried about her. Eventually I think me and her broke up or whatever, or I'm talking about broke up, child, like it was serious. In my 12-year-old mind, maybe. But now in hindsight, at my 30-year-old age, I'm like, girl, I will fuck somebody up. But anyway, that's not the worst of it. The worst of it was my dad. I love my dad more than life. Anybody who know me know I love my daddy. My dad's dead now. That's another story for a different day. He died of HIV. That's another story for a different day. I'll never forget the day he told me he had HIV. So that's another story of a different day. He died when I was 14. But that's a different story of a different day. My dad. The worst part of this story is I went to spend a weekend with my dad. When I came over for the weekend, there was this young girl who had moved in the neighborhood. And she just fell in love with me. I was maybe 4 years older than her. So, she was just like my cool little friend. I just took her under my wing. We had such a good time. We used to play just about every day. And we lived right across the street. Like, this was my house. That was her house. Like, right across the road. We lived right across the street from each other. And so, me and her would play all the time. Me at her house, her at my house. We had a good time together. So, I just remember the oversexed husband that came to my girlfriend's house and took me to with them to have a threesome at the Peekaboo Hotel. I remember we took my girlfriend's car, but he drove a truck. He drove a truck with the words Terminix on it. I used to play at my friend's house all the time. I only met her mother. Her dad worked a lot. One day, me and her, the friend I lived right, the little friend I made when I came to visit my dad for the weekend and ended up staying for the summer, the friend that lived right across the street, I was playing, laying down, laying down on the floor like little girls do, laying on my stomach. Nice little round 12-year-old butt. We just playing, doing whatever. Let's say we was looking at magazines. Her dad walked in the house. He like, hey, baby girl. I heard that voice before. And someone called me baby girl in that voice before. Why the fuck when I turned around, it was the man from the Peekaboo Hotel, and that was my friend's fucking dad. When that man found out that I lived across the street, he came and befriended my dad and tried to come and see me all the time. And I had to let him know, hey, sir, my dad would kill you dead if he ever found out you messed with his daughter. So your best bet is to find my girlfriend and go fuck her brains out. Mind you, he lived across the street with the wife and my friend that I used to play with all the time. Friend, your dad is a pedophile. Whoever your name is, his wife, your husband is a pedophile. You will never know what people is into. I never feel like a victim in that instance. But it's funny how people will prey on children because they grown, they should know better.